Gallagher. She gets it back in one hand. Great pass, and Parker goes over to confirm Newcastle's punt through to the prelim. 24-18. They'll take on the Roosters for a spot in the grand final next Friday night.
Hello, welcome to Code Sports Show and Go. We are down to 4 teams. Pam Whaley, what a weekend it was in finals footy for both the NRL and NRLW.
Yes, we were saying off camera we both feel like we've got a football hangover.
Yeah.
Despite not playing a single minute, but we are crawling to the finish line. We are almost there. Luckily, we've got some good footy coming up.
We both brushed our hair so that we didn't look as dishevelled as we felt
when
we arrived.
We did. Yeah.
But they were 2 great games of finals footy in the NRLW in North Queensland. The Sharks, they beat the Cowboys 24-18. A huge congratulations has to go to Tony Herman and the crew at Shark Park because they went up there and really it was an upset to go up there and do that on the Cowboys' home turf.
Yeah, the Cowboys, as we know, have had a really good season this year. They will be so disappointed with that result. But yeah, for Cronulla, they've had such an injury-interrupted season as well. They were kind of spluttering towards the end there. But looks like they'll get a couple of players back this week as well, which will be huge.
They have this, I don't know, feeling about them, the Sharks, that yes, they didn't finish the season the way they would have liked the regular season, but they knew that finals were stitched up, and with all the injuries I probably think mentally it would have felt like they just were getting towards the finish line. But they regrouped, and speaking to the club before that game, they felt confident going up there. The performance of Ellie Johnston was enormous. I think she's had to carry a lot of the load in the middle this season with the injuries that you spoke about. Georgia Hanaway, a revelation at 9. It's been wonderful to see her footy grow. And then who you wrote about last week in the paper, I believe, Anne-Marie Kurioratu. What a story her year's been, and she scores her first try in a do-or-die semi. Yeah,
for sure. So coming here just with her older sister Shantae, just basically was told you can play Harvey Norman, and then was really impressive there. Ended up with a development contract, and then through injuries and obviously her own form has ended up in the NRL team, and then scoring a try in a finals game. A really wonderful story for such a great young kid. She spent 2 years out of the game with back-to-back ACL injuries, so big reward for her. Huge for her and her sister Shantae, who has been enormous for them in the halves. Such a young player, but such a great talent. And I think the Sharks deserve a huge rap because we're always talking about the Broncos and the Roosters, but if you're a young footy player and you're looking to develop your game, you don't have to just go to the Roosters and the Broncos, which everyone talks about as the teams that you can really harness your footy IQ. It certainly looks like they've created a great culture and a great system in the very short time that they've been here in existence. They just look like a team that loves playing together. And have just really dug in for each other. So I'm really happy for them this year.
Now the Cowboys, you mentioned it, great season, best they've had yet, and they were in that game. They'll probably be really heartbroken by the scoreline 24-18, had their chances, just beaten by a better team on the day. But future seems unclear for a few players because the coach, Ricky Henry, was never really settled on a few key positions this year. So he obviously chopped and changed a little bit in the halves there, and we have heard kind of that Kira Dibb might be headed elsewhere. There's an opportunity for her elsewhere. Whether or not that happens, but her future, I guess, is one of those that is unclear as well. Particularly at the Cowboys, though, just where she ends up is just going to be a question mark because she's such a great talent. And then Crystal Blackwell as well, you'd heard something. Yeah, I know she's off contract and that she won't be there. We're hearing she'll be heading south. Not sure where that will land yet, but she's been a great player for them this season. But certainly Ricky Henry's going to have to look at his halves and potentially, I mean, I don't know, otherwise I thought that was probably the only part of the puzzle that was missing, that direction in the halves, because they were really strong defensively throughout most of the season. So for them as well, big congratulations on what they managed to achieve in just their 3rd season.
They've played some really exciting footy. So they should be really proud.
All right, sets up a grand final rematch for the Sharks. Their prize is they get to go to Gosford and play the Roosters. And you mentioned it, some really important team news for Cronulla. We're hearing that Anessa Biddle and Quincy Dodd could be back for this game. For those unfamiliar, they are both 2 representative superstars. So to have them back would be huge, and also from a recovery perspective.
Absolutely. And then just adds a little bit more experience and a little bit of depth into that squad as well, especially going up against the Roosters, who just what more can you say about them? They're undefeated. They're an amazing team. So that will be that huge boost for the Sharks. And Nessa Biddle, I think in particular, she's so damaging. And up against Isabel Kelly. She said last year ahead of the grand final she wanted to test herself against the best. She really wanted to get one over on Izzy, and not many people can do that. So she'll get another shot this weekend. Yeah,
and Quincy Dodd had syndesmosis surgery only a few weeks ago. So for her, apparently he's been working overtime to get back to, like, not knowing what their future held, but knew that whatever, she wanted to make sure if they did get to this point that she'd be back. And she's a superstar hooker for rep level as well, and for Tony Herman, he's got a decision to make because Georgia Hanaway has done a really good job and a great headache to have against this all-star Roosters lineup. Now, for the Roosters, if there is any doubt over whether they can get through, it's because of some injuries and they've hit them at the wrong time. We mentioned it last week, Taryn Aiken gone with an ACL. What are we hearing about Corbin Baxter's fitness?
That she should be right. So it looks like she'll just move into 6, which will be very handy addition. She hasn't played since I think it was round 7 she got injured. So she's had quite a few weeks off now to come back into there. And then Amber Hall as well. She's got the calf strain.
So she's out.
She's out. Jamie Frazzard 50-50 from a hip drop. Rima Butler is in doubt as well.
So she was injured at training. So the Roosters they're actually got a few injuries.
As vulnerable as we've probably seen them this year. So even though they are completely undefeated and everyone's saying, you know, the Roosters have just got one hand on the premiership already, it's not that cut and dry. I think this will be a really good game.
Because the Sharks will be burning from the grand final loss. And they also played poorly against them, as we said, in the latter rounds. It was the last round of the regular season. So they'll certainly be fired up for this. That's Gosford standalone rugby league between the Roosters and the Sharks on Saturday night. Now, in our second semi earlier in the day, Newcastle, well, to be honest, they never looked in doubt. They absolutely wiped the floor of the Titans out of the game in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. They were just way too good. I think they were just all pulling in the right direction. Jesse Southwell just steering them around. It just was pretty cut and dry, I think, from that first half. The Titans have had a pretty good season. They also had a lot of injuries this year, so were very disappointed to go out the way they did. But yeah, no, it's just way too good.
18-0 at half-time and then 34-20. The final score doesn't really indicate just how dominant they were. I was really excited to watch their back rower, Fane Finau. She's only played 3 games. She scored a couple of tries, some really crucial tries, both of them. Just so exciting to watch. She's only 19, but she looks like she belongs. And I think that's part of what we're seeing now in the women's game. The players that are coming through the pathways, they've been successful at Tarsha Gale Cup level and at Harvey Norman level, and then when they've been given their opportunity, they're shining. And she was, I don't know, I just got really excited watching her because she just ran so hard. She looked like she completely owned her performance. And I think for the Knights, it's really exciting to see the depth of talent potentially they've got coming through. And they have had a couple of teenagers debut this season. So just talking about the Titans, they did have an 11th hour team change, which we were all a bit surprised by. And their coach, Karen Murphy, explained why a try-scoring machine, Phoenix Rain Hippie, couldn't start the game. Let's have a listen.
Was there a reason why Phoenix didn't come into the game until that second half?
Yeah, there was. Phoenix is a development player for us, so unfortunately that's the rules at the moment, that we weren't allowed to start her in the team with a top 24 player being available, so we had to start her off the bench today.
And do you have to wait a certain amount of time? What is the rule?
Yeah, it's just that she couldn't be in the starting 13. She had to start. She could be in the 17, but not in the 13, unfortunately.
She certainly made a presence built in that second half.
She did. She's a footballer, Phoenix. She's just got that natural ability, and we say you have players, rare players like that can find a try line. So she did that again out there today for us.
Pretty self-explanatory. Murph captures it completely there, but this seems to be something that needs to be looked at.
Yeah, so I think this is something that the coaches and clubs are talking about in the background, that they feel pretty hamstrung by some of the just nitpicky rules around the salary cap and when you can play players, and particularly development players, and how it just seems like needlessly overly policed. This is something that we know the NRL is looking at for the end of the season and into next year, just around the salary cap and
Development
what
players.
to do with those
And
development players.
and because they played them, she played what, 7 games this
she played
season?
7 games. She scored 9 tries in 7 games.
So this
was
wasn't
a development player.
Yeah, she wasn't being brought out from nowhere and into the team.
It's not trying to rort the system. It's essentially just saying, if you've got a player in the top 24 that's available, you should be playing her over a development player. It's so that you can avoid salary cap kind of manipulation, I guess. It just seems pretty cooked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Certainly something they need to look at, because she came on and she was on fire. She scored 2 tries and she was had a great impact.
Yeah.
And would have loved to, I'm sure, have had that from the get-go in that game. All right, Titans, the season that they had, we know injuries played their part for them, and they kind of had to push hard at the back end to get into finals.
Yeah.
Squad changes, do we think they're going to be losing a few?
Yeah, so we think that potentially Talia Fuimiono could be on the out. There could be a couple of more changes there within that forward pack as well.
Yeah.
It looks like they, obviously Talia plays in the halves, so they could be looking for another half. There are some, I think there's some changes happening at the Titans there, but we also know that Karen Murphy has turned down the Queensland Origin coaching job. So she's really focused on what to do there at the Titans. She's just gone all in. So, I think she feels like there's just unfinished business there heading into next year.
Okay.
So look out, I guess.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk a bit more about the Queensland coaching job in just a moment. But it sets up a date for Newcastle. They are heading to Suncorp, to the Cauldron, to take on the Brisbane Broncos. That'll be enormous, Pam, that game, that doubleheader.
Yeah.
We called for it. They listened to us.
Obviously, they listened to this podcast.
They got the money, and they have. It's going to be a great game, a great occasion for the women's game.
Amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. And if you're a fan of the Broncos as well, like you go to the game, get to preliminary finals.
Yeah.
What could be better?
Yeah. It pits the halfback for Newcastle, Jessie Southwell, against the team we're expecting her to line up for next season. So plenty of intrigue and eyeballs on that performance.
Yeah, plenty of storylines to come out of that one. Obviously, Tamika Upton as well, trying to knock out the team that she left and won 2 premierships with. So really, there's a lot of feeling in between those two teams, as we say. We do believe that Jessie Southwell has made her decision on what she's going to do as well. So
I have heard she's told one club that was in the running that she's not going there.
Yeah.
And I know that Newcastle, we haven't heard anything out of them.
We haven't heard anything.
So we're all just connecting the dots here that she's waiting till they're out of the finals or till the end of the season. Yeah, I mean, imagine she announced this week she's going to Brisbane. That ain't going to be...
Do it, Jessie.
We'd all love to see it.
We would love it.
Yeah, but it does, the gossip, the scuttlebutt is that the deal for Brisbane and Jessie Southwell is done.
This is the thing about the women's game is the storylines that bubble away underneath it. That's the interesting thing. That's what fans want to... That's what they're interested in. So this is a big one this week.
I'm sure Newcastle would love to know one way or the other, because if she's leaving, that puts them in the market for a half, and it's a big void to fill if she's not there. All right, let's talk about the coaching merry-go-round.
Yes.
We've got a couple of jobs to discuss. West Tigers, they've locked in a new mentor for 2026.
Yeah, so Craig Sandercock. So he's been around the NRL scene for quite a while. So he's been an NRL assistant. I think he coached over in the Super League as well. I think it was Hull KR. He was their head coach for a little while. He was at the Tigers. I think he was at the Sharks and the Knights as an NRL assistant. And then he was working with the Bulldogs in their pathways system too. So
before they were the NRL.
women.
Yeah, before they were an NRLW side.
Before they were an NRLW side. So he has some experience in the women's game too. So bit of a left to field appointment. I hadn't heard his name.
Associated with women's game. No.
Associated with the women's game, really. So but a coach with a lot of experience. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes. He's got a huge job ahead of him in terms of finalising that squad, because they've got, most of their squad off contract, and I think
Huge job.
He starts in November, so as soon as he'd want to get moving.
Well, he was involved with that Harvey Norman team at the Bulldogs for 23-24, put a call into some players there, and the word is very smart and technical coach. They really liked him, they enjoyed learning from him, and the talk is from that perspective he'd be a great fit for a young team. So wonderful. That's all we want to hear. And I'm sure the Tigers players will be thrilled to know what the future holds so that they can certainly shore up their own future from here on in. Big job ahead. Now, the QRL, the Queensland Women's Coaching Role, has been in the works for about 6 weeks. They've been a group at QRL have been looking at all the candidates, and we understand that on Friday the board will ratify the one. The one. We don't know for sure who it is, but there's plenty of gossip going around. Pam, you mentioned Kara Murphy. She's out of the race,
so she's turned it down. So she's all in on the Titans. So there are whispers around potentially Broncos assistant Matt Ballin. So that could be one. That would be probably a logical decision. Someone who's not tied to an NRLW club, is not an NRLW coach. The other options, obviously, we know Nathan Cross, the Dragons coach, interviewed for the job. Scott Prince was interested. They were interested in Scott Prince as well, and Meg Ward too. So obviously Crossy and Princey are NRLW coaches. So that would complicate the matter with the job, whether it's a full-time, part-time job, whatever it might be. But Matt Ballin's the new name that's entered. Do you think it's full-time?
Like John Strange can do it.
Well, the QRL think it's a full-time job. I think
Is that
it doesn't
right?
matter what I think. Okay.
Yeah. Well,
because they need someone to do pathways and do all of that other stuff there. And New South Wales Rugby League did have that in Kylie Hilda, and then they changed it and so that they could get John Strange in because they just believed he was the guy.
But isn't that just best person for the job?
Well, it should be, but maybe they thought the best person for the job was Karen Murphy, and she's turned it down. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, I get it. I mean, Nathan Cross, this sort of conflicts with pre-season, this sort of time frame for prep for the Origin series. And Nathan Cross is meant to be in Wollongong preparing the NRLW side for their season, and then he'd be flying up to Queensland. I mean, logistically, I get it. That would be tricky. Scott Prince, he's up there. He could keep across it. I don't see that being a huge drama. But Matt Ballin, that would be an interesting one to see him putting his hand up and getting involved in the women's space with all of his experience working with the men's.
I do love to see experienced, high-profile NRL players dipping their hand into the NRLW space. I do like that because I think it raises more interest, and just outside of the normal NRLW fans, I think it raises the profile of it a little bit more. I don't mind it.
Yeah. I do think you have to surround yourself then with people who understand the women's game.
Sure. But it is exactly that. It is a different game.
Yeah, because the girls want to learn. There's that sponge element where they want to learn everything there is about the game and new skills, different things, but the women's game has its own nuance in terms of what the girls need as athletes, and who they are. Yeah. Like if you've had no experience in the women's game, but we're dealing with the elite here, and Queensland, the best of the best in our game. So interesting. We will see by Friday who the new Queensland coach will be. All right, we haven't had it for a few weeks, but it's like people have noticed, Pam, and they've just said, please make women's rugby league greater. And we've come up with a concept for the back end of the season. Just another idea of...
Lara, you've come up with a concept.
I may have had some
What is it? Let me throw it to you.
All right.
Lara, you've come up with a concept to make women's rugby league great again.
Okay, well, it's just another fixture. Something else for our pathways to really get involved in, and that's a state championship game for the women. So this weekend, the Harvey Norman Grand Final in the reserve grade is being played between the Knights and the Sharks, and the BMD Grand Final in Queensland is being played between Burleigh and Brisbane Tigers. So in the men's game, we have a state championship which is played on Grand Final day. I'm not saying this has to be played on Grand Final day, but it would just be great to see the best in Harvey Norman Women's Premiership playing against the Queensland team. And another opportunity to showcase the depth of talent and have scouts looking out for the new breed coming through.
I like it because I would just be interested to see which state is better.
Of course. Well, that's why.
Like just
that's
sort of
why.
very basic level.
Give
us another state of origin-ish element.
That's good.
Yeah.
Hadn't even thought of it like that, but that's totally a good idea as well.
Yeah.
And also to see, I'm going to be interested to see who wins this weekend, Knights v Sharks. the Elite v Brisbane Tigers, and it gives people an insight into the talent coming through.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that's my idea. It's going to be your turn next week. I brought it back. Can't wait for our 2 prelims this weekend. Just to remind everyone, Saturday night you can catch the Sharks and the Roosters in Gosford if you can get there, or watch it on Fox League in KO. And on Sunday, the huge one, the Brisbane Broncos and the Knights. Am I going to have to ask you for a tip before we go on both? I'm going to say first that the Sharks are going to upset the Roosters, because I just feel like we need an upset. If there's going to be an upset, I'd say the Sharks could beat the Roosters.
I think so too.
And Brisbane
I think if there is an upset, that is the upset. I don't think that's going to happen. I think we're going to see a Roosters-Broncos
It'd
grand
be
final.
massive.
I think that they've been the 2 best teams all season. I want to see the best grand final we can have, and I think that's the Roosters and Broncos. So, but obviously, good luck to the Sharks and Knights.
Yeah, all the best. We're praying for you. All right, thank you so much, fam. I look forward to chatting to you next week.
Yes.
Ahead of the grand final and the Dally M's.
Of course. Thanks, Lara.